What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Movie Minute. This episode of the Movie Minute, we're talking about horror comedy sketch from Angel Studios. What in the world? Let's get into it. So let's talk about sketch. For those of you that don't know, Angel Studios is the production studio that produced The Chosen in the beginning, and basically is the go-to production studio for faith-based film. So when I saw that they were producing a horror film based on a really highly successful short, I was fairly intrigued. Not only did the trailer look really fun, who isn't a fan of Tony Hale? The man is a legend. Arrested Development, Veep. The guy is amazing. If you don't love Tony Hale, I don't know what to tell you. But I basically love everything that Tony Hale is in, so I thought I'm probably going to love Sketch, right? The story of Sketch surrounds the Wyatt family, headed by Tony Hale, who plays Taylor Wyatt, and his daughter Amber Wyatt, who is drawing scary monster drawings in a notebook in order to process the death of her mother. And then some crazy circumstances happen, and these monsters from her notebook come to life and start terrorizing this town, and they must figure out how to deal with this new monster situation. That is the gist of the story. So let's jump in and talk about a few of the things that it did well. First and foremost, at the very top of this film, it is insanely creative and fresh. I like movies that do something different, and this movie very much does. The story is refreshing, the visuals are refreshing, everything about this film is new and fresh, and I love it. I had fun this entire movie. Building upon that, the cinematography was gorgeous. This film was shot very well, which isn't always the case for faith-based film, but it was beautiful, as well as the VFX. This film took drawn monsters and brought them to life, and it did it in a very interesting way, and from what I have heard, it did it in a very budget-friendly way as well, which is kind of mind-blowing, to be honest. The final major highlight of the film for me were the performances of Tony Hale as the father and Bianca Bell as the daughter. They were great. Their chemistry was good, their interactions were good, and the writing was good. How they delivered the lines. It was just a very believable dynamic for the family and the family situations, and I really appreciated that. There were only two things that bothered me about this film, and the first was much more egregious to me than the second. The first was that this film did drag quite a bit in the middle. I think the film was just overly long, which it's not a long film. I think the film's sitting around 1 hour and 45 minutes right now. I think it just could have been shorter. I think that the middle just dragged. And a lot of the time that's due to story structure and plot, and I think that they just felt like they had to have too much filler there in the middle. They could have cut a lot of it. The second thing is really a lot of the other characters in the film that kind of are the B characters in this film, their performances weren't great. I just think that the acting was a bit cheesy. The story in general was campy, but a lot of the camp works, but some of it did not, and the ones that did not were due to poor performances, and so that kind of brought it down just a bit. From an entertainment standpoint, this film was massively entertaining for me. Like I said, it was fresh, it was innovative, it was creative. I would give it a solid 9 out of 10 for entertainment value. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was a surprise. For the critics rating, due to the kind of nature of the middle of it just dragging and the cheesy campiness of some of the performances, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 for critics rating. But averaged out, it's an 8 out of 10 overall for me for Sketch. At the end of the day, I want more movies like Sketch. I want movies that are interesting, new, refreshing, and fun. This film was all of those things, and so from a badge rating, I would absolutely give this a popcorn bucket. you should go see Sketch. And honestly, it's not that scary. I mean, it leans way more into the comedy than into the horror element, and it's safe for most families, I think. I think if you have children over the age of 8, 9, I think that they can handle this to a certain degree. The film also touches on what healthy relationships look like between children and their parents, and also healthy grieving. I am in the midst of a season of grieving, and I think that talking about grieving with your children is extremely important, and this film does that, and it sets up a platform for you to be able to do that with your kids, and for that, bravo. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'd love to have you part of this movie community with me, and until next time, everybody, peace out.